In the following, we will cover the size of the steps, leading with your arms or chest, the embrace, following the lead's interpretation of the music, embracing variety and creativity. The video is separated in sections if you want to move from one to another. I hope that this video helps people to get out of some of the boxes that limit them. The size of the steps. There's a lot of room for variety and diversity in the size of steps. Some have very large steps while others have very small steps. Some do both at different times. As an example, this is Isabella and Felician, often large but sometimes smaller. If we use shoe size as a means of having some sense of perspective, then we can see that they are often significantly larger than a typical walking step. This is Christopher Mensak. His steps tend to be very small, often hardly passing the size of his shoes. This is Morinasso. He will sometimes do large steps and at other times do small steps. Being able to follow the variation is entirely a skill for the followers. This is from the Angolan National Kizomba Championship in 2016. They tend to not be very small or very large, but some of them do at times lift their feet off the ground higher than is often seen elsewhere. Side steps can vary a lot as well, with the lead sometimes taking very large steps, which would of course allow them to have some more balance during certain moves. I tend to think of smaller steps as sexier and larger as more dramatic. The most important thing is that the follows the size of steps of the lead. Mensak, who is one of the most well-known Kizomba dancers, has videos with millions of views, has danced with many of the top dancers, including Sarah Lopez. When he is giving instruction to followers, he tells them to be careful not to take steps that are bigger or smaller than the steps of the lead.
The third reason why you might be out of balance is that your steps are either too big or too small. When they are too big, you're moving a little bit too much in relation to your partner. You might find balance yourself, but this will pull your partner a little bit out of balance, and as a couple you will also be a little bit out of balance when this happens. So try to not take too big steps, because you're moving too much around your partner and the balance is not going to be as good as it can be. The other reason is when you take steps that are too small, which means they are not long enough to find balance for you, and you will be hanging a little bit on your partner.
When he was writing on this topic, he said that if a lead does a size 3 step, then the follow should take a size 3 step. Otherwise, this will cause balance issues for the lead and the follow. As a side note, one person told me that the size should be negotiated with the follow. I would simply say that we should follow the experts in this regard, but I would also make 2 observations. The main difficulty for this is that the lead already carries the greater weight as far as making the dance work. Both people are needed to make the dance work. They both have a weight to carry. The greater weight is with the lead, and the follow certainly can say, I won't follow. I will just do my size of step and then expect the lead to compensate. But this, of course, places an even greater burden on the lead. If the follower is very limited and only dances with others who have large steps, or only dances with others who have small steps, this will not be an issue. But if they want to be less limited, if they want to be able to embrace variety, this will be important. And of course, any follow can take the role of lead if they want to be a lead rather than being a follow. Secondly, varying small and large steps is only possible if the follow follows the lead, because the lead needs to be sending the communication and the follow responds. In this clip, you can see that sometimes Morinasso takes larger steps and sometimes smaller. This diversity is only possible if the follow will embrace their role as a follow. Anyone can lead, anyone can follow, so if someone wants to decide the size of steps, they can take that position of lead. Having follows who try to take over the role of lead simply adds limitations and confusion. Thirdly, the lead needs to be a microsecond ahead of the follow. There is simply no time for the lead to communicate a lead, then for the follow to refuse to follow, then communicate back their desired step size, and then for the lead to compensate.
Try to take your step just a millisecond after a guy, and you will know exactly the size of step he wants to give you.
If this is ignored, the dance will simply become awkward for the lead and follow unless they just happen to both have the same size of steps. Leading with your arms or your chest. Angolans teach that leading with your arms is one of the most important skills. This is the main instructor from the Join Angola YouTube channel.
Tá bem, mas já fizemos um vídeo a falar sobre a função dos braços, é mais ou menos para recordar e para dar mais ênfase, porque é uma das coisas mais importantes durante a dança ou na dança. E o nosso braço direito é como volante. Aí, o braço esquerdo já sabemos que é o eixo fixo. E o direito é que faz a dama ir para o lado que queremos que ela esteja. Aqui. Então é mais ou menos isso. Quando queremos que a dama vá para esse lado, o nosso braço é que ajuda a dama a se dirigir para lá. Queremos que ela volte, é assim que funciona. Okay.
They describe the arms as being like a steering wheel. In this video, they describe it as pushing and pulling in order to change the direction of the follow. Translated into English, the instructor says here, as we turn, we pull and push before walking forward. Having said of this, you do not have to follow the Angolan prescriptives. It is completely okay to limit yourself to leading with the chest, but you will be more versatile if you lead with your arms. Consider this one example. This is the wind-up move. The follow is shifted out to a 45-degree position where the wind-up is led. You can't lead this move and a lot of other moves without leading with your arms. This one, like many others, relies on disconnecting from the chest rather than following the chest. This is the same move at the end of the video with Sarah Lopez, which went viral and helped popularize Kizomba more than 10 years ago. As a lead, if you do choose to only lead with your chest, you still have a lot of possibilities. You could easily dance entire evenings without having to use your arms. For follows, if you can follow those who lead with their chest and those who lead with your arms, you will be more versatile, you will be less limited. The frame and arm connection is even more important in open frame embraces. In this, there's always a small space between you, which allows for some more room for footwork, but without that direct chest connection, you need to be more reliant on a connection through your arms. If you don't have a firm frame in this situation, it will be more effort for less results, and you will probably feel awkward. Following the lead's interpretation of the music. The dance flows out of the music. The lead follows the music, and the follow follows the lead.
Está la leading part, está la chica, se une, pero obviamente no, pero es lo que el chico escucha por la música, la chica escucha al chico. Entonces se vuelve, pues, esa comunicación. De ahí entonces a que el chico puede interpretar la música de la manera que quiera y hacer escuchar a la chica eso que él está escuchando, tanto musical como con fútbol o expresión corporal.
If the follow is not aiming to follow the rhythm of the lead, then the lead is limited because it will be more difficult for them to slow sections down or pause, go to halftime, double time, etc. In other words, the follow is not directly following the music. The follow is following the lead's interpretation of the music. Kizomba Hips. These are the winners of the 2016 Kizomba Championship in Angola. I sent a message to the Kizomba instructors at Join Angola and asked them about side-to-side hip movements. I said, it looks like you are doing side-to-side hip movements in your steps, but some people here say that you should not do side-to-side hip movements in Kizomba. And they said, I'm surprised to hear that. It is an essential part of their jinga for both Kizomba and Semba. In the world, there are a variety of styles of hip movement, ranging from very little hip movement, side-to-side hip movement, forward and back movement. All of them are fine. As Albert said, do what you love. It will, of course, look better if the lead and follow can synchronize with each other's styles. Synchronizing hip movement is not as significant in open frame. Some people would like to limit others to their preferences, but no one is obligated to be controlled by the preferences of others. The embrace. Most embraces have the arms lower on the side and fairly close to the body, but it is typical for Angolans to have the arms straight out from the shoulder and then straight up in an L shape. In this case, the hands are near the top of their head. The first and perhaps most common embrace is a body-to-body embrace, basically straight up and down. The second is open frame, which is typical for urban Kiz, but is also used with other styles of Kizomba. The third and less common embrace is a connection at shoulder height, almost cheek to cheek, and then an angle out from that point. This creates a space at waist level and would create some space for extra foot movement. Embrace diversity. If you are not embracing creativity and diversity, you are not embracing Kizomba. Kizomba was made by creative, forward-thinking people, despite the intense criticisms from people in Angola who did not want the mixing social influences.
Para muitos outros, porque sou do tempo em que quando se mostrava outras influências musicais ou culturais até dentro da nossa música, isto era alvo de críticas severas. Obviamente que, fazendo parte de um grupo de pessoas que querem ir para frente, querem descobrir novos patamares, talvez tenha sido a pessoa que mais se destacou. Agora, mentor foi...
Kizomba involved embracing evolution and embracing other cultural influences. This stood against the critiques of those who did not want anything to change. Think about that for a minute. There were people in Angola who rejected cultural influence and diversity and were therefore rejecting Kizomba. The people who made it embraced this. Now, 40 years later, some people think their version of Kizomba is the norm and reject diversity. This is not true to the history of the dance. This is Harry Gama, an Angolan dance instructor and DJ. He recognizes that there are a lot of different styles in the world. He states that he enjoys the Angolan style, but he does not claim it is better than other styles, just the one that he shares as his style.
Hello everyone, it is Harry from Kizo Dance Newcastle. I'm an Angolan Kizomba and Samba teacher, dancer and DJ. A lot of people don't really know how is to dance Kizomba the Angolan way because it's so many different interpretations nowadays of Kizomba that people are getting lost what is the real Kizomba. I'm not trying to say that this Kizomba is better than that Kizomba. I am trying to bring to you guys how it is like to dance Kizomba the Angolan way, how we dance in Angola, how it's like to be on someone's driveway, someone playing a music from a little radio, and we all getting together, involving and dancing until 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, and just feeling that atmosphere is unbelievable.
None of these dance steps or styles would exist if it were not for people who embraced creativity and diversity. When it started, they didn't have any instructors they could go to. They didn't even have any YouTube videos they could watch. The ideas did not drop out of heaven. It was people who had an imagination, wanted to try to create something. They worked through ideas and then they shared those ideas with other people. And it has been a steady evolution ever since.
Especially nowadays, Kizomba have total change from the Kizomba where I was growing up from 5 years old, dancing on my mom's feet and dancing with the brush and things like that to learn to dance. Kizomba is something different, especially here in Europe where I see things happening all the time. We have Kizomba fusion, we have urban kids, we have Kizomba that, we have Kizomba that. Anyway, to be fair with you, in Angola we don't really dance with all these tricks, lifts, saídas, and dips and so on. We dance as we feel in the music.